Benz Grand Prix circuit in East London and rounds 17 and 18 of the Bankfin South African Touring Car Championship. The season now starting to get towards the final stages, and it's the first visit, in fact, of the Bankfin Touring Car Brigade to the East London Grand Prix circuit. Friday practice day dawned bright and sunny, various teams trying to find a way of stopping that Nissan domination that has seen them taking the Manufacturers' Championship already and on the verge of taking their 4th consecutive driver's title. Yes, indeed, Janelle de Villiers is the man who all eyes will be on this weekend because he only needs 6 points. There's the gap, 59 points between de Villiers and Sean Watson-Smith, the only man who is in a mathematical position to take that championship from de Villiers.
Janelle, over your right shoulder, the word South African Touring Car Champion 97, 98, 99. This weekend it can be 2000 as well.
Well, I certainly hope so. We need, I think, 6 points now to clinch the championship. I just want to get the 6 points and finish and get the thing done and then take it from there. So hopefully we can just finish the first race within the first 5. I think that'll give us the championship, and then we can enjoy the rest of the season and see what we can do.
I was just going to say, I mean, you don't actually need to win the races, right? Is that going to be the strategy that you follow this weekend?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not going to take unnecessary chances to go off the circuit or get into a scrap with someone and that I might damage my car and sort of postpone the thing until maybe Cape Town. But that's why I say I want to try and finish it and get it over and done as quickly as possible, because then the whole team can relax and I can relax, and it'll be good for us.
In the Bankfin Pro Car Championship, things have changed since the last round at AAK Lami. Mpumalanga teenager Marco de Cunha now has 5 points lead over defending champion and teammate George Poseidon. So all eyes on the battle between the two of them there. In the battle for the best of the rest, watch out for the likes of Richard Sorensen, AJ Taylor and Irshad Jaffa. How are you going to play it for this weekend? Go as hard as you can, I suppose.
Yes, Hendrik, I think if I win the race on Saturday, it will make it a lot easier going to Cape Town. And we'll just see how it goes. But I think the championship's going to go all the way to the last heat of the last round.
Now, in round 18, you've got a strange figure next to you, that little white Nissan Sentra of AJ Taylor. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's good to see different people on pole, and now I think everyone's right up there. And it's nice to see Anthony on pole, and it should be a good race.
BMW will be making history today. In an unprecedented step, they've decided to replace Marco dos Santos with Etienne van der Linde. So for the first time in touring car history, 2 brothers will be racing together for the same team. Etienne, of course, a multiple former single-seater champion, and Sean van der Linde, a former Bankfin South African touring car champion. Sean, how do you feel having Etienne with you in the team?
Well, I'm delighted for on his behalf, but I mean, it's you know, at the end of the day, it's going to be competition. He's going to be one of my rivals, and I just believe that having him in the team, he's got a lot of mechanical background as well. I'm sure it will help me in developing the car more and further. Racing-wise, I think although we're brothers, we will be very competitive. I won't give him half a second or half a gap, and vice versa. So, but I mean, we won't take each other out. I don't believe that. You know, I don't think we're going to go to that extent of competition. You know, so yes, I think it's well, we'll see. We'll have to see, but I think it's a good idea.
Etienne, I'm going to ask you exactly the same question.
Yes, well, Hendrik, basically it's a big transition for me going from single-seaters, but I'm up for the challenge, and it's not going to be easy, but I'll do my best. And yeah, I think I'd rather, if anyone beats me, I'd rather have my brother beat me than anyone else. So yeah, and from that point of view, I'm not too worried about Sean.
This was a rather quick decision, it seemed. Has Sean been able to give some of the inside knowledge that you need to you in the period before this race?
Well, with Sean knowing the car as well as he does, I think at the moment there's no other way for me to learn quicker than just to do what he's doing and, you know, get hints and helpful information from him. So, but apart from that, I think we'll get there. It will take a bit of time.
So an all-Nissan front row. Mark Peters getting his first pole position of the season. The 2 championship contenders only down in the 3rd row. And Etienne van der Linde is still coming to grips with a new car.
Mark, East London has been a good track for you. You were in pole position here last year as well.
Well, I live in London, so I think I'm home when I come to East London. No, it's a great track, and it's got some really nice fast corners, potters and rifle, and if you get those right, it's very satisfying. So I enjoy driving here.
I think we all know that at this circuit, your grid position is not that important like at other circuits. I mean, you can use the slipstream here, you can actually get past somebody that's ahead of you.
It's obviously good psychologically to be in the front, and it's good physically to be in the front because somebody's actually got to get past you. But yeah, it's not a tight little circuit where you can drive defensively, so you're right on the slipstream.
13 laps ahead of us here at the Mercedes-Benz Grand Prix circuit in East London. The wind has come up and we are waiting for the flag to drop. Brian Hoskins sends them away. And they are the two Nissans leading the field. Mark Peters takes the lead as they go into Potter's Pass. With me today, Chairman of TOCA, the Touring Car Association, Graham Duxbury. Graham, that's a strange-looking grid.
Yes, indeed, to have Mark on pole there. Now, Mark, of course, is an ex-Formula Ford European champion, Formula Ford 2000 champion, and also drove Formula 3000 for the Nigel Mansell team back in the early 80s or late 80s and 90s. Now, he's leading this race. Behind him is Duncan Foss. And the two championship contenders back in 6th and 7th place both had bad practices yesterday. Janelle spun off on his quick lap, and the three Opals were towing each other around, and that's why you ended up with a strange inverted grid.
Well, take a look at that. That's Janelle de Villiers, who's being challenged on the inside by Anthony Taylor. Terry Moss is right there, just behind him, behind the two BMWs, and he's through.
Well, that we didn't expect. We certainly didn't expect Janelle to go backwards. I was expecting him and the Opel driver to actually start moving forward. So there's a complete gap in two groups of cars with the two BMWs behind Janelle now.
Well, it seems to me, Graham, that Janelle lost some momentum going down the long back straight, or the long straight going into Cabana, and that's where Taylor was able to catch up with him. Meantime, it is Mark Peters, hard on the brakes now for Beacon Bend. Still Mark Peters, Duncan Foss. Car number 12, that's the leading Opel of Silvio Scribanti, young man from this area, and he has really done well in only his third touring car race here today. There is the race order at the end of lap 1. It's Peters from Foss, Scribanti, then Joubert, Watson-Smith, de Villiers has gone past. Oh, it was actually Terry Moss there. Moss into 7th. There is the pro car battle. And in the lead in the pro car category, still Marco de Cunha from Richard Sorensen and George Besaidnout. There they are, Brian Martin just ahead of Irshad Jaffa. Watch out for Anthony Taylor in that white Nissan Sentra. He did not qualify for this race because he had other commitments, but his car is extremely fast. He's got pole position in that category for the next race.
Yes, these five cars are really close. It's wonderful to see that the BMW now, after the development they've had, are now right up there with the two Nissans. And it looks like, yes, he's going through on the inside. He's going through on the inside there.
Hard on the brakes. The side note also takes a look down the inside of Marco de Cunha. So Richard Sorensen, for the first time since he's joined this series, is in the lead in the pro car category. Marco de Cunha is not going to enjoy that. He's used to winning as we go back to the leaders. Mark Peters still ahead of Duncan Foss, and now it is Silvio Scribanti who's starting to push.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, Mark has opened up a little bit of a lead there. Duncan doesn't seem to be so quick. Now, remember that the track today is a little cooler than usual, so it's going to take a couple of laps for the temperatures to come up. And maybe that's what caught Janelle out, which is why he dropped back. Now his tyres are warming up, and he's going to be catching up with the three Opals and his teammates.
And Foss defending against Scribanti. Now, Sean Watson-Smith needs to stay ahead of Janelle de Villiers. Between the two of them, they are 59 points in the championship. Realistically, I would imagine that it's still not possible for Watson-Smith as we go back to the pro cars.
And the BMW in the lead there again, from de Cunha, then Besaidnout. Those three now, oh, there goes Besaidnout, very wide there. And then after that, the Toyota Brian Martin. But this is an excellent race. This is really turning out to be a fantastic race for these pro cars.
Turn up for the books as Richard Sorensen leads Marco de Cunha across the line. Well, de Cunha will be happy just to keep Besaidnout behind him because Sorensen... Oh, and that's Van der Linde.
Which one of the
Sean
two?
Van der Linde.
Sean Van der Linde gone off.
Sean Van der Linde.
There's been a change of drivers here. It's both Sean Van der Linde and Etienne Van der Linde, his brother, who did so fantastically well in the European season in single-seaters. Now the two Van der Lindes driving a BMWs and Sean's off.
Well, let's just have another look at that, Graham. This is Van der Linde. He's around about 7th position through Potter's Pass there and accelerating up to some 240 kilometers an hour. Oh, and, well, it seems like it may have just had some help from one of the Audis. He spins off trying to orientate himself, then tried to get back, but then he puts the power on just too quickly.
And it's Duncan Foss who seems to be battling to fend off the Opel as opposed to catching his teammate.
Yeah, and that will, of course, slow him down. That's been the case so far as we come up to complete lap.
And there goes Sean Watson-Smith, I think, on the inside of Joubert.
Okay.
Let's see if he gets through into the next corner here. He's certainly got the inside line.
I'm pretty sure Joubert is not going to fight him off.
Yes, I agree with you there.
I think we're starting to see this plan coming into action now.
Yeah, so Sean Watson-Smith, then Joubert, and then de Villiers.
Watson-Smith into 4th position, Dion Joubert down, and they are closing onto Sean van der Linde's BMW. That's the pro car battle. He obviously rejoined way down the field.
Now he's pulling away obviously there, and that in fact slowed down the BMW of Sorensen a bit, so he's having to defend the inside line. Yep. Now there goes Scribanti trying to get through, and he's done it.
Contact.
He's got
Contact.
through. But that was absolutely fair. I'm surprised that Foss didn't try and close the door a little bit more there. Anyway, that's him through. So now we have an Opel in 2nd place behind the slush puppy VP Nissan of Mark Peters.
Race order on lap 4 as they come down the main straight. Mark Peters has 0.9 of a second over Silvio Scribanti, who's got the inside line for Potters, and he remains there in 2nd position. Duncan Foss still in 3rd, then Watson-Smith in 4th, Opel's Dion Joubert in 5th, and Janelle de Villiers is still languishing down in 6th position.
Yes, and that's let Mark Peters extend his lead to now a 2nd over Scribanti. And there he goes again. So he's lost another... No, that's Janelle. No, it's not. It's Watson-Smith passing Duncan Foss.
A little bit of a contact there. Now, this is the plan, obviously. The plan is for Silvio Scribanti to pull Watson-Smith to the front. There he's going through.
Yes, he's
slowing down. Scribanti is slowing down dramatically. So Watson-Smith is up into 2nd position. There's a major change in the running order. This is on lap 5 out of 13. Peters has a comfortable lead, relatively speaking. Then it is the man in 2nd position in the championship, Sean Watson-Smith.
But that lead is going to be eaten away very quickly, I think, by Watson-Smith. And let me tell you, Peters and Watson-Smith have had lots of action in the past. So the last few laps of this race are going to be good, unless Mark has just got the legs on them. He has got a gap at the moment, but not much.
And you can see what Dion Joubert is doing at the back there. Janelle de Villiers is looking for a way past. He knows exactly what the score is. He knows what the plan of the Opel team is, and he knows he needs to get past them as well. 5 laps gone. Peters still leads. In 2nd position now is Sean Watson-Smith. Duncan Foss in 3rd, then Janelle de Villiers in 4th, Dion Joubert 5th. Then comes Anthony Taylor in the Audi. And Silvio Scribanti pulls into the pits. Obviously, we can't tell what the problem is, but it must be a major problem for him to retire from the race. He slowed down dramatically.
Absolutely. What we expect now is for Foss, who's obviously slower, to let de Villiers through to try and have a go at Sean Watson-Smith. That's the way to protect that championship. Because for sure, Duncan, it hasn't been quite on the pace of either of his teammates in 1st position or in 4th place. And Sean Watson-Smith now has a 2.3 second deficit over Peters. We're going to have to watch that and see what happens. Of course, they will maybe slowed down by overtaking one another and let Peters just carry on to the win.
I think quite right there, Graham, and I think what Dion Joubert is probably thinking is he's working out a way of trying to get past Janelle de Villiers again to relegate him down one more position.
In fact, he tried there very late and broke very late and locked up. But you can see that Duncan is holding up Janelle. Duncan is a teammate, really. I'd be very surprised if Glenn Hall, the team manager, is not saying, Duncan, move out the way and let Janelle through, because you can't do anything about the opposition in front. Have a look at that.
There's the battle in the pro car category. A great race happening further down the field. This is Richard Sorensen still leading from Marco de Cunha. And George Mercedes well within that picture. Further back is Anthony Taylor. That's the other Anthony Taylor. AJ, we call him. Then Irshad Jaffa. He brings up the rear.
Yes, the BMW team has done a great job here to compete with the might of the Nissans. And of course, the Nissans have been doing it for a long time. And with Glenn Hall's magic touch, the Nissans throughout the field have been the class of the field. So it's great to see a BMW in this particular part of the field doing well, where in fact in the proper touring car side of it, you've got Etienne van Linde in 7th and Sean van der Linde in 8th, having had that spin. And
a long way back. But at the front, Mark Peters still has a good lead. Last time around it was 2.5 seconds, just less than that.
With 2.3, it's now 2.4, so he's opened up just at 0.1, so it doesn't look like Watson-Smith is actually able to close at this point. And there's still, de Villiers has passed Duncan Foss now. So now we'll see whether, in fact, de Villiers can catch Watson-Smith.
Right, race order as it stands at the moment. These cars look so similar because of their team colours. Oh, no, a bit of a twitch there from de Villiers.
Yes, he went a little wide there. He's lost time there. But he's obviously trying really hard to catch that Opel. We'll now see what the gap is. It was only 0.6 of a second. As they cross the line, I'll tell you what the gap is as to whether de Villiers is catching. But even that short little bit there through the complex, he's again opened up a bit on Duncan Foss, who's protecting his line from Scribanti.
Myers squealing. Oh, and that's the race leader. That's Mark Peters. He seemed to have outbraked himself, and Sean Watson-Smith goes into the lead. That is exactly the position where he wants to be. Now, Graham, how does that happen? I mean, did he watch his mirrors too much, too long? Or?
Well, we didn't see what happened, but it was obviously a mistake, and he's now dropped down to 5th place from that very comfortable 2.5-second lead. So now it's up to de Villiers for the BP Nissan team versus the Petronas Opel team of Watson-Smith. So I don't think you want to write off de Villiers yet.
So things have panned out the way that we actually expected them to. So the two championship contenders at the front of the field, that is the man in 2nd position in the championship, leading this race, Sean Watson-Smith for Opel. Richard Sorensen still defending that 2nd position from Marco de Cunha. Now de Cunha, I said earlier on, would be happy to have the Southdale behind him, but I don't think so. There are only 5 points between the two of them in the Pro Car Championship, and I think de Cunha needs to get to the front.
He'll certainly want to, yes. And that BMW opened up a little bit, but it's not going anywhere. So de Cunha can still, in the next, what do we got, 5 laps left now, try and take, look how defensive the BMW is having to be. In fact, de Cunha looking around the outside. Don't think he's going to get past around the outside, but certainly the BMW is now holding up in certain parts of the track. That's his problem. Oh, there goes the mirror of one of the Opels, which is ridden over by Anthony Taylor.
That's Peters who went past Dion Jabert, and there's some bodywork scraping against that tyre. I think he's kicking himself, and he's saying, look, I'm going to throw all caution to the wind. I'm not sure that tyre is going to last. Pull to the inside.
You know, a little bit of tyre rubber makes an awful lot, but it actually looks like it's coming from the front, not the back. If the car's fully up the smoke, then he's going to have a problem. He still managed to stay ahead in his position now down in 5th place. Now, the gap between Watson-Smith and de Villiers for the last 3 laps is very between 1.3 and 1.5 seconds, so really de Villiers is making no impression on Watson-Smith at all. He's not going to be happy. He wanted to walk away today having won the championship. And if Watson-Smith finishes in front of him, well, then he hasn't done that. So with any more potential unreliability or other problems, this championship is going to go down to the last race in Cape Town in 3 weeks' time.
Well, they score 15 points for a race win, 12 for 2nd position. So if they remain in the same positions at the front of the field while we're watching that little battle, de Villiers will lose out by 3 points, because none of them scored any points for their qualifying positions. They were both out of the top 4.
Exactly right, yes.
Mark Peters has gone past. Oh, and there's a bit of a nudge by Dion Jabert.
Yes.
It's a bit of a tit-for-tat situation there.
Yes, with his mirror gone. So what have we got? Watson-Smith de Villiers. In fact, the gap is now open from 1.3 to 1.7 seconds. So Watson-Smith is actually now moving away slowly from de Villiers, with Duncan Foss in 3rd place, a further second down. Then Peters in 4th place. 5th is Joubert, and 6th is Taylor. So what happened to... Oh, no, Foss is in 3rd place, yes. So it's 3 Nissans in the top 4.
There's the Pro Car battle still continuing. Now, the race leaders, the touring cars, the works cars are on lap 12, so they've got just more than a lap to go. These cars are now completing their 11th lap. And still this fight continues. Oh, and that's Peters off again. I wonder if there wasn't any contact between him and Dion Jabert. This is the final lap for the race leaders. So Watson-Smith is well on his way to take that victory. And that will be his 5th victory of the season. Oh!
The oval just touched him there. Well, okay,
Dion Jabert.
Yes, Jabert.
I'll tell you what,
touched
Richard
him.
Sorensen will be extremely unhappy with that.
Yes.
Means he's lost momentum as well. Okay, so Sean Watson-Smith goes through. There's Janelle de Villiers. Duncan Foss just behind him. This is the final corner of the final lap of this, the 17th round of the Bankfin South African Touring Car Championship. And the checkered flag is out and waiting for Watson-Smith to take his 5th victory of the season. Maximum points, so he does close down that championship gap somewhat by 3 points, down to 56 points. What's going to happen in the Pro Cars? And it's Richard Sorensen, and Richard Sorensen is going to take that victory. That is a great performance. That's the confirmation of your result. Sean Watson-Smith, 3.08 seconds ahead of Janelle de Villiers. Duncan Foss in 3rd, ahead of Dion Jabert. Anthony Taylor, a good result, in 5th. Etienne van der Linden finishing in 6th. And in the Pro Car category, Richard Sorensen, his maiden victory over Marco de Cunha. George Verstappen 3rd, ahead of AJ Taylor and Irshad Jaffer. Richard, that was an excellent, if hard-fought victory.
Yeah, it was. All I can say is I just hung on to the lead, you know, once I managed to get past. This place is all about drafting, so I had to drive a pretty defensive race, but I managed to keep them behind me.
And it almost went wrong when the touring cars came past.
Yeah, that's always a problem, because the touring cars will take your space and not really worry about your own race. So I had to choose the defensive line from them too, make them go the long way round. Dion Joubert didn't like that, so he gave me a bit of a punt sideways in the complex on the last lap, and I was lucky to get it back on the track in front of the Nissans and win the race, but very lucky.
We are almost underway in round 18 of the Bankfin South African Touring Car Championship, with Sean Watson-Smith leading Janelle de Villiers, the newly crowned champion, towards the start-finish line. Now that is significant. It is not raining, but the teams are allowed to put on wet weather tires should they so choose, and BMW has gone the wet weather tire route. The others are all on slick tires, and the lights turn green. Sean Watson-Smith leads the field in the run-up to Potter's Pass. Janelle de Villiers slotting into that second place, and it will be interesting to see whether that gamble that the BMW team have taken is going to work for them in this race. It is not raining, but the track is wet. Watch out at the back of the field in the Pro Car category for Anthony Taylor, AJ Taylor in that white Nissan Sentra. They're just coming to view. He started in pole position ahead of Marco de Cunha. Through Crocodile for the first time. There is Sean van der Linde just behind him. Two cars in between is his younger brother Etienne van der Linde. They are two cars on wet weather tires rather. And the team is gambling on it starting to rain within the space of the 13 laps that this race will be run over. Just jockeying for position, settling down in the order. You see that and look at that. That's Sean van der Linde, who almost loses the tail of his BMW. Putting the power on, they come through the S's, now down the sweep. The wind is blowing, and we'll have to keep a very careful eye on the weather conditions. So Sean Watson-Smith, who is fairly solidly settled for second position in leading the field, and van der Linde seems to have the advantage at this early stage of the race. Obviously, the track being wet, you will have that. There's no standing water as far as we can see. And watch Sean van der Linde. Watson-Smith leading Janelle de Villiers from Dion Joubert. Sylvia Scribanti is in fourth. Mark Peters in first. Sean van der Linde is in sixth, and he is pushing. He's pushing Mark Peters.
This is the view from Mark Peters' car, and you can see van der Linde has just gone past him in Potter's Pass. Now they're accelerating up towards Rifle Bend. Sylvia Scribanti under pressure from Sean van der Linde, and Sylvia Scribanti just takes the inside line. This is hard on the brakes from 250 kilometers now down to 80. Van der Linde and Scribanti and Peters are all fighting it out for fourth position in these conditions. Down the beach straight. Linde on the inside as they go to that little bit of a right-hander, and he's gone past. So, and the Opel of Sylvia Scribanti is challenging hard, but van der Linde has been able to get past both those two cars. Oh, and that Brian Martin Toyota, the Celtics Haviland car, he did not finish the previous race. Look at Terry Moss. He loves these kind of conditions. Lining up Mark Peters. We'll pick up the Pro Car medal for you further back. Just to mention that Marco de Cunha has actually gone into the lead in the Pro Car category. End of lap 3. There's less than half a second at the front of the field between Watson-Smith and Janelle de Villiers. In this battle, Dion Joubert, van der Linde, Mark Peters, Sylvia Scribanti, and Terry Moss right there as well, and Anthony Taylor. That car with the yellow side mirrors, that Nissan, that is the Englishman Mark Peters, who commutes between South Africa and England for each race meeting. You can see the cars are all still slipping and sliding around somewhat, especially under braking. And Sylvia Scribanti, who got a little bit loose there, contact between him and Terry Moss. There is Sean van der Linde, Mark Peters, Sylvia Scribanti, then Duncan Foss. Terry Moss is right there with them, and Anthony Taylor as well. Only 9 seconds cover the first 9 cars. That's as close as they are. And Terry Moss has been able to get past Duncan Foss, and now Anthony Taylor also. Oh, he's lost it. That's Sylvia Scribanti losing it. There's big trouble as the cars struggle to get out of the way. Sylvia Scribanti just lost it there.
through Rifle Bend. He's taking a shortcut. I'm sure he won't be penalised for that. And the other car that lost it as well was that Nissan of Duncan Foss. Some damage to the front end of his car, but he will be rejoining the race. Hopefully he will be able to get rid of that front fender so that he can continue. That was potentially a very, very tricky situation because none of the following drivers knew what way to go. Silvio Scribanti just loses the back end of his car, hard on the brakes by Terry Moss, and he spins right on the racing line. Moss goes off on the outside, and Force has very, very quick reactions by him. He had no other way of avoiding an accident there but to put that car into a spin. So good reactions by Duncan Foss. But I'm sure that all these drivers have their hearts in their throats. In the Pro Car category, there are still 34 points up for grabs. Only 9 between these two front runners, Marco Acuna and George Besaidnout. Besaidnout in car number 20. Both of them members, of course, of the BP Nissan dealer team. And Duncan Foss still not been able to get rid of that front fender of his. We've seen that a number of times this year. Front and rear fenders getting loose and hanging by just one corner. Where are we in this race? The leaders have gone through. They are on lap 7. So just after the halfway mark. This is the battle for third in the Pro Car category. They are the two race leaders. Marco Acuna. He won 5 races in a row, and then he finished second in the previous race. Back to the front of the field. This is the battle for third. That's Mark Peters, still struggling to keep the two Audis of Terry Moss and Anthony Taylor behind him. Peters seemed to be very slow through the tight corners. Just look at the way, there's a bit of a nudge there, and Moss is going to force his way past, but Peters is going to hold the inside line, and Moss is getting increasingly frustrated, and Taylor on the other side. Look at that. That's a sandwich between the two Audis, and Moss is through. Peters has lost momentum, and Taylor just looked at the way of getting past there as well. I'm pretty sure that he'll be getting through there pretty soon as well. At the front of the field, there's a huge battle for the lead just off screen between Opel teammates Sean Watson-Smith and Dion Joubert. There was 0.2 of a second between the two of them. Now Moss is taking that defensive line, and Anthony Taylor, in fact, Anthony Taylor is the one that's gone through, and Mark Peters got amazing acceleration down the straight. And Taylor takes the outside line, contact between the two of them, and they are all three off the circuit. Moss just goes off into the outfield, and it is so slippery out there. He's only going to come to a stop when he connects something. So that's the way that little battle has been resolved. There's Terry Moss standing forlornly on the outside of the track. As we go back to the Pro Car battle. So this is a vital race for both George Besaidnout and Marco Acuna. Anthony Taylor is not in the championship, but this can become Terry Moss. Oh, he's rejoining, so that could have been he's rejoining. Okay, so let's just make sure whether both the Audis are in. Anthony Taylor is indeed in 4th position. So race order while we watch this battle, and Acuna is looking for a way past George Besaidnout, and we've seen this, that the order can so easily change. Just the slightest little mistake can change the order completely around. Irshad Jaffa is still in 4th position. There he is, just within shot. And Richard Sorensen is still in this race as well, but way back. He must have also gone off somewhere. We did not pick that one up. Silvio Scribanti is slowing down. He's got some kind of a problem. He came onto the main straight and he's pulling off. That is Etienne van der Linde, who's having a bit of a disastrous Bankfin touring car debut here in East London today. Pro cars covered by the proverbial blanket. They are also now entering their final lap. Watson-Smith and Joubert covered by 0.2 a second at the sharp end of the field. They are on their 13th and final lap. In fact, they are into their final corner. They've come past Richard Sorensen in the Pro Car BMW. This is going to be a fine, fine finale to the day for Opel. And it's Sean Watson-Smith and Dion Joubert. And Dion Joubert gets gifted that victory with Watson-Smith out of the championship, just returning the favor that Dion Joubert bestowed on him last time at Kyalami when Joubert moved over for Watson-Smith to take that victory. So, breathless race. Just to confirm those results for you, Opel's 1-2 with Dion Joubert from Sean Watson-Smith, Anthony Taylor in the Audi in third, ahead of Mark Peters, Duncan Foss in fifth, Janelle de Villiers in sixth position, and in the Pro Car category, George Poseidon takes it from Marco de Cunha and Anthony Taylor. Dion, that was a spectacular race from the outside. A good victory for you as well.
Yeah, we're very happy. It was a splendid feeling to have two Opels so far in the lead of everybody else, under these difficult conditions. I was quicker than Sean when the track dried, but we had to slow down because we were so far ahead, and then he handed the victory to me just to help me consolidate my third, which is fine. We're happy, and as I said, we're just so far in the lead, and it's just great. Yeah.
Celebration time for the Opel team on the podium. Dion Joubert on the top step. Anthony Taylor will be very happy with that third position, considering their performance so far this season. And they are the championship standings with 2 more rounds to go. 34 points still up for grabs. Janelle de Villiers has the championship in the bag. Sean Watson-Smith is safe in second, but that third place is still up for grabs.
Janelle, you won the championship with 3 more races to go. Did you think it was going to be that easy earlier on this year?
Well, no, not at all. It seems easy now, but I can tell you one thing. This is a tough championship, and it's a tough championship to win. You've got to finish all the races, as I've said 100 times before. You've got to have a reliable car, and you've got to finish all the races to get all the points. And it seems easy now, but I'm glad that we could win it in the first race. And now we can go to Cape Town to the last round, with the championship in the bag, and just go and enjoy the last race and maybe try and get 2 wins there.